Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Regan Elite here. Hello, everyone. Whew, it's been a long day for me. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are all doing well. Ellie, Zhao, good to see you both there in the chat. Hope you guys are doing well. And anybody else lurking in the chats, hope you guys are all good. Welcome to the Snowflake Watch, episode 64, where on this live stream we look and watch and react to certain clips and videos online. That's what we're going to be doing today. Going to be looking at some on the welfare bill. Going to be looking at Palestine Action, Gaza, the COVID inquiry, and perhaps more after as well, guys. There's quite a few various topics we're going to be covering. I don't know if we'll get through it all, but we'll wait and see. I definitely will be stopping before 10 o'clock, and I also want to put this out there. We'll see a clip anyway, but 10 o'clock on Channel 4 tonight, that's if you guys can get access to it, will be the documentary on Gaza. They're going to release it. The one that the BBC didn't want to release will finally be published tonight at 10 o'clock. So I want to see that. I'm sure you guys can understand how significant that will be. So yeah, that's going to be really good. But yeah, but we are live on youtube.com/ReganElite and on twitch.tv/ReganElite1, just for reference there. If you can, hit like, share, subscribe, you know, all the usual stuff, guys. It's really, really important if you want to help to boost the algorithm and all that kind of stuff. Would be really, really helpful indeed. So, the welfare reforms. Well, it went through, but my God, there is a lot of anger and there is a lot of frustration. And obviously, we talked already about at Prime Minister's questions about how shambolic it was. And Kemi had some open goals and she didn't really take them to a certain extent. I thought she did all right. She could have done a lot better. I was listening to Phil's video response to PMQs, and it seemed pretty. I think it was pretty accurate that Kemi really had opportunities to take more shots, but she could have done so. Ice Ninja, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well, and Aliston Keir as well. Man, you've been busy today, my friend. I'm assuming you've had the day off today. Steam Banker as well, good to see you there, and anybody else lurking in the chats. So I want to start with this here, just to show just how shambolic all of this is, because it really has been shambolic for the Labour government these last 24 hours.
No serious way to make legislation, and you know what, this is messing with disabled people's lives. They've already been through hell since we first announced this bill, and then today they'll not know what the hell's going on, because quite frankly neither do MPs know what's going on. And this is just I'm angry and I'm upset, and this was all about party management and saving face, not about what's right for disabled people.
Here she is being consoled by the Deputy Prime Minister shortly before that interview. Angela Rayner is understood to have been in the room negotiating with the rebels yesterday.
Interesting. Very interesting. Obviously, Angela Rayner has to go with the government because of her position, but it's very clear that she's not in favour of any of this at all. I think she's very much just following the tow line, because you know, seeing that if an opportunity comes, perhaps maybe she could have taken more. Oh, you was working and listening and multitasking. So you were working and managing the various live streams all day today. You've been moderating a lot of live streams today, Aliston. Mithril, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Yeah, this is just absolutely insane, guys. I wanted to share this as well, where Kemi Bagonot talks about disability benefits. This is a very nice reminder one here. Oh, I can't show it. I can't show it in full. Basically, it says the headline. It's from The Guardian. It's from no more than 9 years old, guys. It says disability benefit U-turns leave David Cameron with 4.4 billion to find. Prime Minister focused to concede that black hole will not be filled by further cuts. David Cameron had been forced to concede that a £4.4 billion black hole created by the U-turn over disability benefits will not be filled by further cuts as to welfare, as he fought to shore up credibility following the shock resignation of Ian Duncan Smith. There's a similar, and actually going to take you to it. I'm actually going to take you straight to the other clip in reference to this as well, which is quite interesting here. This is very interesting comments I thought was worthless as well that I found.
The last time that there was significant changes made to the way that to welfare recipients, it was in 2013, and it was with Cameron and Osborne. And during, well, in the middle of austerity. Not where you could argue that never ended, but, you know, besides the point. So George Osborne moved people onto this PIP system, and that was the way it was now going to be assessed. That meant that everyone who was already on PIP payments, already in receipt of some kind of welfare, would have to be reassessed on this points-based system to see what they would be eligible for. When Osborne first touted this policy, he said it was going to save the Exchequer £2 billion, and it was at a time where we all needed to tighten our belt buckles and we needed to knuckle down. It actually ended up costing the Exchequer £4 billion.
So, right there, before I go any further, so it cost £4 billion back then to make the changes that they're going to make. Cost the government taxpayer money to make that change. How much taxpayer money do you think it's going to cost for the government to make the changes to welfare reform that they're doing? I agree that welfare reform needs to change. But are we happy with the amount of money that it's going to cost?
Because of all of the reassessments. So, net, £6 billion was lost from the Exchequer. Yesterday, they were talking about saving a potential $5 billion. So the last time they tried to quote-unquote tinker and save money with the system, it actually cost $1 billion more than what they would have saved yesterday.
I thought that was very worth hearing out. And I think she's onto something there, if I'm honest. What do you guys honestly think about it? I wish I had a better screen of this, but is this the one where I believe this is the clip where Stephen Timms, the MP, said in Parliament that the 4-point PIP requirement will be removed from the welfare bill. This is how they did it. For those who didn't see the clip, this is how they did it. I'm sorry I don't have a better bit of video footage. But when they made this, they had to make this change because they were so desperate to not lose on this count. They had to scrap it at last minute. It's so pathetic.
I will give way, yeah.
I thank my right honourable friend for giving way. Can I ask the Minister to confirm at the dispatch box that Clause 5, specifically referencing the need for claimants to score 4 points in order to receive the daily living allowance, will be removed from the bill?
Yes, I can confirm to my honourable friend that that is the case. And we will table the amendment to do that. And let me also say, and answer the honourable member from Southampton.
This was just literally like minutes ago, and beforehand, this is not what they were saying, and now they've just completely changed their minds in the middle of a debate. Yeah, that's definitely how you run politics. Definitely how you run politics. And by the way, even the Conservatives didn't do something as terrible as this, guys. I think Starmer is making that shitty. People will go for reform, Brexit, UKIP, and the fascist England. They will. Unfortunately, I'm very scared that people will vote for reform because, and I thought this was a great point that even Phil Morehouse made in his analysis of PMQs, was that Kemi, even though Kemi had a free open goal to hurt the Prime Minister, it didn't matter how good Kemi came across or how well she was, because people don't have trust with the Conservatives. So all she was doing was scoring points for Reform UK. Didn't really work out for her, really. And even though Reform didn't really get a question brought up, no Reform member got to ask a question on Prime Minister's questions. For them, this is a good day for them. And by the way, Reform also voted against the welfare reform changes as well. A reminder again of this was obviously beforehand, like the damage that this would have done, the damage that it would have done if they didn't make the amendments that they made.
It's not an out-of-work benefit. PIP is there to support disabled people to manage the extra costs that we incur as a result of being disabled. Everywhere we go, things are not accessible. Education isn't accessible, employment isn't accessible. We have to wait a long time for diagnosis and treatment from the NHS. Social services can't offer the support that we need. Third sector charities are absolutely hollowed out, can't support disabled people with services they need. PIP has helped me get through my day-to-day life. and it helps me get things in place on a day-to-day basis so that I can work. Social security is really complex. I don't think that MPs have been given enough information about the impact it's going to have. I don't think that they fully understand the complexities of the social security system.
But well, we know that because they haven't fucking consulted with the people, with you, the very people who are being, the very people there. They were not consulted. None of them were consulted, guys. You have to understand just how fucking bad this was for Labour. They did not consult with the very people that they were going to take welfare away from. The very people. They did not consult with them. They kept quiet about it. They didn't do proper consultation with the very people that were being affected by this. This is the thing that angers me more than anything. This is what angers me more than anything. Is that the people who were going to be deeply affected were not consulted on. It really angers me so much because this Labour government have introduced some good policies. They've put in some really good policies, but they can't stick their fucking heads out of their arse and realise, maybe you should have a conscience and a heart for what's going on here. Like, they bang on and on and on and on and on about getting people into work, while not realising that not everyone can go back to work. Not everyone can work. And some people need that protection. And he keeps saying over and over again, we will protect the people, the most vulnerable people in society. You're not doing that. You're straight up lying to your fellow MPs and lying to the British public saying that, because that's not what it says in the details. It's just so unfair, and it makes I have to say this, but it makes them worse than the fucking Tories, and that's and the thing is, then I don't want to. I know people are going to disagree with me, but they're not worse than the Tories. Because if it was up to the Tories, they would do a lot worse than this. Because they would do a lot worse than this. You think that blue bunch are going to be nice and kind, yeah, to people on benefits? And it's just, I just don't understand. Honestly, like, if this really was Morgan McSweeney's idea, what a complete clusterfuck of an idiot that he is. He really is. Because he honestly should not have, obviously has not been paying attention. Like, really have not been paying attention. Like, of course, we always want to encourage more people into work. And there are parts of that bill, which did pass last night, helps that. And I applaud that, and I'm happy about that. I really, really am. But not everyone can work. It's for me, it's the changes to PIP that really grind my gears more than anything. To make it more difficult for people to claim is the thing that angers me the most. Is because it is already extremely difficult for people to apply for it. It's already very difficult to apply. It really, really is. There are countless stories. Hell, even I've had people, there's probably people in the live chat here who have had the same experiences about how difficult it is to claim personal independent payments, to claim that you have a disability. Because when you talk to people at the job centre, they don't have a fucking clue about the issues that you go through. Whether it is a physical disability, whether it is a mental disability, whether it's a psychological disability, or whatever it is that the reasons why you need it. They don't look at it as a case of you being a human. They look at it as, how can we avoid this person claiming PIP? Rather than looking at the humanity of this. The thing that infuriates me is just how little humanity is in all of this. When we have more than 3 million millionaires living in the UK and we can't ask them to pay just a little bit more in tax instead. It just really infuriates me, guys. Good evening, Pete's music. Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest, guys. Good evening, Pete, Billy Kershaw, and anybody else. This is the way it should work, but the criminals in Westminster don't give a feck. They don't. They don't, Ice Ninja. Another example of people.
Before the concessions came in, clearly the bill was unacceptable. It was built on excluding people like me from the process, people with chronic conditions, with fluctuating conditions, with severe mental health issues, all of which means that we are more likely to score more widely across point criteria rather than scoring highly in single categories. The concessions do nothing to address this issue. All they do is try and give some unhelpful reassurances that people who currently access benefits will continue to do so. We're very clear that this is completely unacceptable. We're not willing to throw young disabled people, pre-disabled people under the bus by accepting these concessions.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, this is just another case of an example of someone here who needs these entitlements, who needs this credit, who needs this, and these are the people that are not being, their concerns are not being raised here. Their concerns are not being addressed. These are the people who are not being consulted on. This is one of so many people who are not being consulted on that really upsets me so much about this. And it once again reinforces the message about, like, something that that was even mentioned in the run-up to the general election, even after when they won the general election, was their communications. They need to sort out their communications, and they have not sorted out their communications. I heard Keir Starmer was telling people to stop attacking Morgan McSweeney, and it's just like, well, he's supposed to be the brains of your operation. Well, clearly he's the one that's pulling strings, isn't he? So of course people are going to go after him. Thank you, Alison Keir, for the 5 gifted memberships to Roger Devine, Gary Arnold, Ange, Torchwood F Fan, and John Rodcliffe there. Thank you so much for the gifted memberships, my friend. Thank you, I appreciate that. Yep, that's because there is a clusterfuck, and rightfully baffled at how they're going about these things. This is the winter fuel payment was bad. Keeping the 2-child benefit cap is still bad, but they have brought in good policies. But this, I just cannot for the life of me understand why they are so desperate for this.
All this will do is just knock the can down the road and entrench people who are going to be experiencing the same issues as I have over the last few years for generations to come. It's going to push them into poverty, and it is going to cause loss of lives.
It will cost people's lives. This is the thing this is it. We're talking about people are going to die as a direct result of not being able to access these credits and personal independent payments, because they're going to make the changes more difficult for people to be able to apply in the future. This will directly affect people who may in the future will need that, and there will be people in the future who will need to claim. Yes, they have made concessions saying, oh, but those who are on it are not going to be affected. Yeah, they're not going to be affected. Well, some people in the future will be affected, and obviously, as it's been pointed out by politicians and commentators alike, it will create a 2-tier system, which is not fair. So you shouldn't change the PIP change level. Shouldn't, in my opinion, it should be easier to apply, not harder. It should be easier to apply. And this posture of people saying, oh, you just want everyone to be on the nanny state and that, I literally have made it very, very clear that if people can work, they should be able to work. They should be encouraged to work in any way, shape or form. And we've heard stories, and I've covered it on my channel, of how it actually allows people to work by being on this. So they actually do something with their lives. Excuse me, that they can actually contribute to society while also working to earn a living. And by taking that away from the personal independent payments from some of those people, that means they can't work. Labour think McSweeney won the election, but I think the Tories gave it to him as people wanted the Tories out of power because of what they did. You're 100% correct. 100% correct, Alison Keir. Labour did not win the election. The Conservatives lost it. Everyone was already and desperate to get rid of the Conservatives more than anything. But even in the run-up to the general election, there was a growing consensus that even though people wanted the Conservatives gone, people were very cautious and sceptical about Labour. And rightfully so.
It has been put forward purely as a cost-saving measure, and not as a way of truly reforming the system in the eyes of disabled people. And the only way we can move forward with dignity now is for this bill to be scrapped.
Yeah, because it's about money, cost saving, cost efficiencies. That's what this is about. It's not actually about the people itself. It's not about the people itself. It's a short one here from Pat McFadden.
I'm not denying there are financial consequences to the decision last night.
What are they going to be?
Well, every decision has a cost. We will have to set all that out of the budget. This is one moving part. A budget has lots of moving parts, and the Chancellor will set all of that out at the budget later this year.
Yeah, well, that's... The good news for the Chancellor is she has time to do it between now and the budget. The question is she still going to be Chancellor? Now, some people think she is, some people don't think she is. I have done a video that's dropping tomorrow, but some of you members may have already seen it. I'm not 100% convinced that she's going to go just yet. I do think a cabinet reshuffle is coming. I don't think the Chancellor is going to be moved from her position as of right now, even though I don't think her crying in the Prime Minister's questions, it could very well be a personal matter, but we honestly don't know the reason. We don't know what the reason. It could be stress, possibly as well. It could be a great deal of stress on her, because I think anybody having the power that she has, the budget that she has to manage, the amount of people who are constantly in her ear, the burden that is on that, and it is a big burden, can be a lot. And obviously things are not going to plan. But it also could be personal reasons why she was in tears the way she is as well. Again, we don't know, so we shouldn't jump to conclusions. But we're going to jump to conclusions anyway on it.
I'm not denying there are financial consequences.
I swear I did not press the play button there. Counter Keith, good to see you. Good to see you there. Never understood Labour's stance on wealth, high income tax, and Keir's pressure to march able Labour MPs up the aisle. McSweeney needs a costing analysis. I think, you know, I don't know how you can get rid of McSweeney, because like Keir's not prepared to do that. So what do you do in that one? Mithril says, our attitude was that Labour were just another neocon party, but they were slightly better than the Tories. There are some creators saying that Labour would be the most progressive. Thanks for that comment. This sums up it as well from Victoria Derbyshire. I really like this.
What do you call a welfare reform bill with barely any welfare reform in it? The government got its legislation through the Commons tonight, but only after gutting it. In fact, some Labour MPs came out of the Commons chamber and were telling me they didn't quite know what they'd voted for or against. Just 90 minutes before the crucial vote, the DWP Minister Stephen Timms announced another big concession in order to make sure it did get through. The Independent Institute for Fiscal Studies says tonight the watered-down bill is not expected to deliver any savings over the next 4 years and raises a question over how the government's fiscal credibility will now be perceived. We asked the government for an interview this evening. No one was available.
Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why, guys. I wonder why. This was on the 30th here. What? This was on the 30th here, with her anger and her rage and her fury. What a contrast now.
Our plans are rooted in fairness for those who need support and for taxpayers. They're about ensuring the welfare...
By the way, just off topic, why does she look like she came out of a science lab? What on earth is she wearing? Sorry, I have to point that out. Like, I do take fashion... I do take fashion quite seriously to a certain extent here. Like, most dresses that most women wearing are pretty acceptable. Why does she why does she look like she came out of a science lab? Like, she looks like she came out of the science lab to came into the House of Commons to give a speech. Like, before she came in, she took her helmet off from the hazmat suit. I'm sorry, I have to put that in there because that's what she looks like to me. Sorry.
state survives, so there is always a safety net for those who need it, and so it lasts for generations to come.
But listen to the anger from Labour backbencher Dr Marie Tidball, who has a disability affecting all her limbs.
The principle of fairness means disabled people had a legitimate expectation to be consulted. Why did the Department for Work and Pensions choose not to consult with disabled people on PIP proposals? And what work will her department do to win back the trust?
I wish I heard the rest of the question here. I'm really annoyed I didn't get to hear the rest of that question. It would have been nice if Implausible Blog had given me the end of that question, but I didn't. But, why again? Why were they not consulted? Jal said, I had a girlfriend that dressed like that. I reinforced the word had. I'm looking for a joke there, but was she working in the science department, science in some way, shape or form? Jal, answers on a postcard. Yesterday, Kemi Baganots said this, and I love this. This is here. Baganot's going to be absolutely furious when she finds out who is in power for 14 years. This is so embarrassing. This was yesterday from Kemi.
It beggars belief that the Labour Party came into office after 14 years in opposition with absolutely no serious plan for reforming welfare. What were they doing all that time? What were they doing?
Yeah, what were they doing? While you guys were in power, what were the opposition doing? What were they doing in opposition, guys? Unbelievable.
The welfare bill is already totally unsustainable, and it is only getting worse, Mr. Speaker. It is only getting worse. As I said, health and... I'll give... What were they doing? The welfare bill is already totally unsustainable, and it is only getting worse, Mr. Speaker. It is only getting worse.
I mean, it's absolutely terrible. I mean, if only we knew who was in power for 14 years. You know, a government that was in... a political party that was in power for 14 years, shared 5 of them with another party that that people tend to forget as well. If only, we could just... If only that party in power had not crippled the welfare system, maybe things would have been a little bit better. Maybe, just maybe. It's, Oh, man. If she finds out who was in power for 14 years, she's going to be absolutely furious. Absolutely furious. This is the best line, in my opinion. Now, I know I covered PMQs. I'm not going to cover too many clips. This is the last clip from welfares before we move on. But I want to share this clip again from Prime Minister's Questions that we covered, because not everybody here who has saw Prime Minister's Questions. But this was actually really good from her.
Mr. Speaker, I don't think the Prime Minister actually watched what happened in the House yesterday. His bill was completely gutted. A U-turn in the middle of the debate, removing Clause 5. Where on earth was he? The reason why he can't answer the question is because he knows it doesn't save any money. It's going to cost millions. This is the first Prime Minister in history to propose a bill to save money who ended up with a bill which costs money.
Why is she so right here? No, bloody hell! That is such a hammer blow to Keir there. Bloody hell! Oh, and she said it so beautifully there. God, I can't believe I have to compliment Kimmy Bacanot there. Oh, why, guys? Why was she so good? Just in that part alone. In conclusion, it was not a very good night for Labour. It's going to take a while for them to recover from this. I don't know if they are going to recover from this, but time will tell. But I also want to share something else with you guys. I don't think Max has seen this, and I don't know how many people are aware of this. This blew up on Twitter, and Kemi has not yet responded to this, and I want to get you guys' intake on this. Adam Bienkov from Byline Times says, after a Treasury spokesperson said Rachel Reeves was upset at PMQs due to a personal matter, Kemi Badenoch's spokesperson tells journalists that something strange is going on and insists the Chancellor immediately disclose what is happening in her personal life. This is the conversation. Yeah? I think we should wrap these questions up, be nice and quickly, so you can go and find out what the hell is actually going on, because there's something very strange going on and personal matter doesn't clear it. Journalist says, how do you know? They says, spokesperson says, well, we need to know what's going on. You normally tell people what the personal matter is. Well, it wouldn't be a personal matter then, would it? The spokesperson says, when the Prime Minister's father died at Christmas, brother died at Christmas, when Kemi Badenoch's father died a couple of years ago, you tell them what that personal matter is. I'm just saying the personal matter could also be that she ... Journalist cuts off saying, so you would urge the Chancellor to come clean with what's going on in her personal life. Spokesperson responded, I'm just merely suggesting that we find out what's going on. Journalist says, you were going to say the personal matter that could be that. The spokesperson responds, I will stick with that. I'm not going to speculate. Journalist says, is that a precedent that you want to set? That whatever is going on in your personal life should disclose it? Spokesperson responds, that is an absurd question. She sat at Prime Minister HQ like, so no matter what's going on in your personal life, you should disclose that to the public, the journalist said. Again, the spokesperson says, I think we should find out what's going on. Journalist says, regardless of what it is. Again, says, I think we should find out. I don't know if it's a he or she. A journalist says, no matter what it is. Again, spokesperson says, we should find out what's going on. Now listen, like I said, okay? Like I said, guys, we don't know what the real reason that Rachel Reeves is in suffering right now. But this is absolutely horrible, because this is if it is a personal matter, it's none of your fucking business. It's none of your fucking business. Like, you all have personal lives just like I do. Now, politicians obviously have a public appearance, and obviously they are very much opened to the public to a certain extent. But even they have private lives to a certain extent as well, that they like to have away from the cameras, away from social media, to themselves. And every now and then, things happen in our lives. Someone close to us may have cancer. Somebody may have died. Someone that they may know has something horrible may have happened to them. There could be all sorts of reasons that puts people in the emotions that they get themselves in. And that could be, for all speculation, that could be the case with the Chancellor. And perhaps, maybe, it's just possible she may have only just been informed of it before going into Prime Minister's questions and why she's in the state that she's in. Now, we can speculate all we want. But for Kemi Badenoch's spokesperson saying that they need to find out what's going on, if the spokesperson is saying this is what Kemi wants. Kemi wants to know, who has no fucking right to ask what the personal matter is, wants to know what's going on in the personal life. And bringing up the Prime Minister's father dying at Christmas, Kemi Badenoch's father dying at Christmas, it's like they don't have to share that information. It's a personal choice. So I really want to put this out there. Like, again, I'm not defending the Chancellor. I'm just saying from a matter of conscience that if it is a serious personal matter, if she wants to divulge that information, that is her decision. But it's not your or my fucking business to be probing the Chancellor into what her personal matter is, for any regard, for anything. You know, our criticisms as a Chancellor is what she does in her job, not what goes on in her personal life. And that should go for any politician out there. So, this is absolutely disgusting from the Conservatives, trying to probe a personal issue that they have no business being involved in. And again, we don't know what it is, but again, I'm putting that out there because I really want to emphasize that. Yeah. So I want to thank Anne Bankov for that. And again, like, this is speculation from Sam Coates Sam Coates, the Sky here, is speculating that this is why the Chancellor is crying. Again, he's speculating, but we don't know that this is the reason. But he's speculating that this is the reason why she's in this. Why she was in tears. I want to stress, we don't know that, but it could be the reason.
A Chancellor crying at Prime Minister's questions the day after an enormous political humiliation that left her with a £10 billion plus black hole that she's got to fill within weeks.
Will you rule out tax rises, Prime Minister?
But we can't really say why she was upset. Her team insist it's personal and won't say more. She was the subject of jibes from the leader of the opposition.
Mr. Speaker, she's pointing at me. She looks absolutely miserable.
And talk of an altercation with the Speaker. We did see a Prime Minister deflect questions over whether she would stay.
The fact is, Labour MPs are going on the record saying that the Chancellor is toast.
She talks about the black hole. They left a £22 billion black hole in our economy, and we're clearing it up.
And he paid tribute to her work.
We're only getting started, and the Chancellor's led on all these issues, and we're grateful to her for it.
But afterwards, we were told she is going nowhere. But is this the end of the matter? As the Chancellor held back sobs, the debt markets drew their own conclusions. The amount it costs the government to borrow went up as the pictures went out live on TV. Another headache for a Chancellor already having her worst week of her career.
Whatever, again, like, yeah, he is disgusting for taking it for putting it like this, but unfortunately, because she's the Chancellor of the Exchequer, and her image, as he rightly said, the markets reacted to that because she's one of the most powerful people in the United Kingdom, because she holds the purse strings. And seeing one of the most powerful people in the United Kingdom holding the purse strings, having looking miserable and tearful on there after what happened last night, doesn't look very good for business, doesn't look very good for markets, doesn't paint a very good picture for the UK, whether you agree or disagree. Speculation is useless, as per the Delhi's Counter Kiev says. Yeah. Dave McGuinness, good to see you, my friend. Hope you are doing well. Guys, do check out if someone could put, yeah, oh, he's already done it. Alistair Kid's already put a link to their YouTube channel. Make sure you do subscribe to the Two Davies YouTube channel. Great content as always, guys. Great content. Where is the, yes, so I wanted to cover this one. Is this the two? Yeah, I just wanted to cover this. Yeah, right. So before we go, I just want to make sure this is the right one. Yep. Okay. Palestine Action, guys.
Now, as you may know, MPs have been debating a motion to proscribe Palestine Action as a terror organisation. This after 2 planes were vandalised at RAF Bryce Norton on June the 20th. Well, that vote has now taken place and it has gone through comfortably. 385 votes to 26, so it's passed through the
385 fucking morons. Now, I also want to point out something here before just really listening to the rest of this. It is not just Palestine Action. There are 2 other terrorist organisations that they deliberately that are also terrorist organisations that were put in this as well as Palestine Action to basically put them in it for it, which is absolutely disgusting.
Commons will go to the Lords tomorrow and would become law at midnight on the 9th of July, so next week, if it passes through both houses.
I think, where's the list? I had a list here. Here it is. The 26 MPs that voted against prescribing Palestine Action, voting for Labour: Diane Abbott, Tiski Ali, Richard Burton, Ian Bright, Emrad Hassan, Kim Johnson, Clive Lewis, Graham Morris and Natalie Woodman, who all voted against it. Only 6 Lib Dems voted against it as well. 4 of the Greens, I think 1 must have abstained. Sean Berry, Carla Denyer, Ellen Chance, Adrian Ramsey there. And you can see there the Common Sense Independents, Zara Sultana, Jeremy Corbyn, John McDonnell, of course, there. These were the 26 that said no to it. So I wanted to share that with you guys there on those who went against it. Now I want to share this with you guys. I'm going to speed it up a little bit because it's 11 minutes long. This is from Declassified UK, and I want you to listen to some of the language that is used in this in the British MPs today on the vote to ban Palestine Action. This was before the decision was made.
I oppose the blood-soaked hands of this government trying to silence us, so I say this loudly and proudly on Wednesday the 2nd of July, 2025, we are all Palestine. Order!
I was in London on the 7th of July in 2007, and I watched my community, this city, attacked by real terrorists. And at that point, rightly or wrongly, I decided I was going to Afghanistan to fight the terrorists. And I went because I love this country and I love our democracy, and I want to see it protected. I think today's prescription order against Palestine Action undermines that, and I wish my government wouldn't do it.
And it's inexplicable that Palestine Action has been linked to groups such as the Maniacs Murder Cult, cynical and calculated move by the government.
I want to know if this order goes through, and I go out there to the demonstration that's mobilising at the moment to say I'm opposed to this, will I be prosecuted?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I beg to move that the Terrorism Act 2000 Prescribed Organisations Amendment Order of 2025, which was laid before the House on the 30th of June, be approved. I'm grateful to the House for its consideration of this draft order, which will see 3 distinct groups prescribed.
See what they've done here. These clever fuckers. They've added them into with 2 other terrorist organisations. Absolutely disgusting.
They are.
To put them in this cat. This is how they've put them in this. This is the Zionists, the Jewish lobbies pushing this. This isn't Labour. This is the Zionists and the Israelis doing this.
Maniacs Murder Cult, Palestine Action, and the Russian Imperial Movement.
I think the question that many of us want to put to him is, why has he linked these 3 organisations together? He clearly has made a judgment on each of the 3 organisations independently of each other, and I think it would be fair, and I'm sure many outside would think it would be fair, if we were taking individual votes on the 3. Because many of us are very concerned about the issue facing Palestine Action, and that is the issue that we wish to address in the debate here today.
It was done on purpose.
You'll recall, I'm sure, that when he's voted against prescribing a number of organisations previously, including Al-Qaeda, in 2001, that particular motion was bundled along with 20 other militant organisations. So there is clear precedent for doing this.
21 years ago, a human rights barrister stood in court and defended an activist who broke into RAF Fairford trying to disable a bomber to prevent war crimes in Iraq. That case became a landmark in lawful, non-violent direct action against an illegal war. That barrister is now our Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, KC. He argued that it was not terrorism but conscience. Fast forward to 20th of June 2025. 2 Palestine Action activists enter RAF Bryce Norton and sprayed red paint, not fire, on aircraft linked to surveillance flights over Gaza. Instead of prosecuting them for criminal damage, which is what normally is done, the Home Secretary is using the Terrorism Act to prescribe them as a terrorist group. Palestine Action's real crime, we have to be clear, is shutting down Elbit system sites that arm the Israeli military. Its true offence is being audacious enough to expose the blood-soaked ties between this government and the genocidal Israeli apartheid state and its war machine. So let us be clear, to equate a spray can of paint with a suicide bomb isn't just absurd, it is grotesque. It is a deliberate distortion of the law to chill dissent, criminalise solidarity and suppress the truth. Even those who oppose Palestine Action's tactics must recognise the vast gulf between criminal damage and terrorism. If this order passes, what's next? Climate protesters, striking workers, feminists in the street? Already we've seen a wider crackdown on our civil liberties. Musicians censored, journalists arrested, demonstrating, including MPs sitting here, harassed. And now this government wants to use anti-terror laws to make peaceful protest itself a crime.
This is exactly what she's saying here. By them passing this, it sets a precedent. Now, I'd like to ask if it's a chat in the question if this is possible. Is it possible that Palestine Action could take this to the European Convention on Human Rights? Is it possible? I don't think it can be, but is it possible that this could be taken to the International Court to be argued against? Because I generally want to know if they can take it further. If they can take it that far, they should take it that far, because it's not right that Palestine Action for the faults that they have, and they do have faults like other organisations out there, can they overturn this? That's the question that I really would like to know.
This prescription passes as it will. We have to understand that no campaign will be safe tomorrow. We also have to recognise that this will go down as a dark day in our country's history and one that will be remembered. People will ask, which side were you on? And I stand with the millions of people that oppose genocide because I am one of them. I oppose the blood-soaked hands of this government trying to silence us. So I say this loudly and proudly on Wednesday the 2nd of July, 2025, we are all Palestine.
Order!
No, we're not.
Well, yeah, you guys are not because you're Zionist.
Madam Deputy Speaker, the attack at Rise Norton on the 20th of June has, quite understandably, provoked shock and anger in this House.
Oh my God, they sprayed paint on the planes. God help us all.
And across the country. But the reality is that this was just the latest episode in Palestine Action's long history of harmful activity. Palestine Action has orchestrated a nationwide campaign of property damage featuring attacks that have resulted in serious damage to property and crossed the threshold from direct criminal action into terrorism. And I hope that goes some way to...
No. Now, we on this channel on Monday, we looked specifically at the definition of terrorism, okay? And I said at that time that they would use the term of property damage as a means to include them in terrorism. And unfortunately, the truth is, in the definition of terrorism, under what they say under Parliament, it is damage to property. But the majority of what you defy terrorism is those who would consider be of the literally the word terror. Terror. Right? How is if I've been shown video evidence of them actually causing terror to other people, then my position would be very different. But apart from property damage, I've not seen anything else.
Responding to the point that my honourable friend made just a moment ago, Palestine Action members have used violence against people responding at the scene of attacks.
Now, I've not seen evidence of this. Now, the government may have evidence to support this. I don't know. I did try to find out, and I couldn't find any of this. But I did try to have a look. Yeah, when I looked at this video, I could not find any. If someone wants to point me in the direction where they have, feel free to do so. But as far as I'm aware, I have not.
For their roles in coordinated attacks, members of the organisation have been charged with serious offences, including violent disorder, grievous bodily harm with intent, and aggravated burglary, which is an offence involving a weapon.
I thank the Minister for giving way, and I thank him for some of the things that he's been saying. I just wanted to kind of pick up on the fact that all that he's spoken about there could be dealt with under criminal law. And the other thing was, when my honourable friend mentioned about the suffragettes, I think we need to put into context a little bit of history here, that when the suffragettes carried out a campaign of window smashing, poster paint defacement, cutting telegraph and railway lines, targeted bombing and arson, specifically avoiding harming people, I think we have to understand that there is a long history in this country of direct action which pushes the boundaries of our democracy. It's very difficult for all of us, but actually they are still direct action. It's not terrorist action.
Well said by Clive there. Well said. Thank you, Catherall, for the €5 super chat. Good evening, Catherall. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for popping in. Really appreciate it. Thank you for that super chat. It's very generous of you. Thank you. Mithril says, acts of violence intended to create fear and intimidate populations or governments to achieve political, religious or ideological goals. The UN definition. This does not fit. Thank you. Yes. As we said, yeah. Jal says the difference is here in Europe is the damage is not terrorism but damage. Reason why art destroyers, movements of environment protesters are treated as people that damaging private property and not terrorists. Exactly. Thank you again.
I look around the world, I look around this country, I look at the party, the authoritarian right party that is 10 points ahead in the polls, and I worry about the future of our democracy. That means that this government, our government, have to make decisions that take that into account, that take into account that we may not be in government one day. It may be the authoritarian right, and they will take this further and faster and deeper than we ever have.
Notice, where's Reform UK? What a surprise.
So we should be putting in fire guards now, protecting our democracy. This doesn't do that. And I will conclude by saying, Madam Deputy Speaker, I understand what terrorism is. I was in London on the 7th of July in 2007, and I watched my community, this city, attacked by real terrorists. And at that point, rightly or wrongly, I decided I was going to Afghanistan to fight the terrorists. And I went because I love this country and I love our democracy and I want to see it protected. I think today's prescription order against Palestine Action undermines that. And I wish my government wouldn't do it. Thank you very much.
This is what. Let's be clear again. It's not just the government. It is Zionists and Israeli lobbyists who are pushing for this because they want to. Because it's not just happen. Remember, it doesn't just happen in America, but it also happens here in the UK. They want to push down any kind of support for Palestine as much as they possibly can. Unfortunately, I didn't leave my super chat target for more than an hour. It's going to run out, unfortunately. That sucks. I thought I set it for 2 hours. I obviously didn't. But they can, and they should present their case to the ECHR. I think they should try to. I don't know how well it will work, Palestine Action, but I think they should do. It depends. It really depends on the cases that the government would have against them on it. And to fight them on the case of not on not just on the government's definition of terrorism, but on the international definition of the word terrorism.
Just making the point about the importance of the right to protest. But essential as these rights are, they do not provide a blank check for this particular group to seriously damage property or subject members of the public to fear and violence. Yeah.
They're not inciting fear and violence. This is a lie. This is a lie. Because you can, if you can apply this to Palestine Action, you can apply this to any protest group. That's the problem. You can apply this to any protest group. That's the problem. Zara mentioned it in her speech. It will set a precedent to say any protest group that they don't like, they can set this tone.
I will give way.
On the question of Palestine Action, the Minister will be aware that very many of us in this chamber think that Palestine Action is in a different category from the other two organisations he's seeking to prescribe. And can I ask him, is he aware that several UN special rapporteurs, including those protecting human rights, say that they have contacted the UK government to say that acts of protest that damage property but are not intended to kill or injure people should not be treated as terrorism?
Very good from Diane Abbott.
Well, I am grateful to the Mother of the House because I think she makes an important point. Before I respond to it, let me just say very politely and very gently, I hope, to her and to others, if the actions of the particular group that we are considering at the moment had been conducted by an organisation who held different ideological motives, my strong sense is that she and some of her colleagues would be strongly recommending that the government moved to prescribe them.
No, because I'm going to put this on the record right now, because I used this ideological argument that he made on Monday when we were talking about this. If a Jewish group, let's use the Jewish, let's use Jews as an example here. If a Jewish group was doing what this Palestine Action group were doing, yeah, I would be saying the exact same things about them. Trying to portray the fact that because that they are trying to excuse the fact because they are Palestine and using that differential term. This is revolting for me. It is about what they have and what they have not done here. Yeah? And he's trying to smear them saying, oh, if it wasn't Palestine, if it was a different group, you guys would be saying something different. And it's like, no, we fucking wouldn't. Because we would go by what they have and haven't done. Thank you, Alistair Keir, for the other two, for the £2 super chat and the other £2 super chat. Help you hit your goal. Thank you for that. That's very generous of you. That, by the way, I didn't say that as a means for you to get to help me reach the target. It's fine. Honestly, you've done more than enough today. Thank you.
I have to say that is, I'm afraid, the conclusion that I have arrived.
We are not voting on whether people agree with Palestine Action's tactics. We are not voting on whether people think their aim is right or wrong. We are voting on whether the actions they have taken against property, not against people, should lead to them being treated as terrorists, when what they have done can be prosecuted under criminal damage, and indeed there's a long history of protest activity, including acts of trespass, criminal damage, sabotage and more. Indeed, the Home Secretary's recent statements on this repeatedly refers to criminal damage, and the live court case is showing that there is already legal provision to deal with Palestine Action. There are a variety of potential consequences if this prescription against Palestine Action is passed today. Supporting or joining Palestine Action could carry up to 14 years in prison. It risks criminalising thousands of volunteers and supporters. Thousands have supported or volunteered with Palestine Action, including students, nurses, retirees and professionals. Many have never engaged in direct action but risk being criminalised. People out there view terrorism as meaning heinous acts such as shooting people, blowing people up, assassinating people and acts of violence. I would urge colleagues to consider the consequences to their constituents of prescribing Palestine Action alongside these other groups.
Is your point of order really relevant right now?
Let me explain. I want to know if this order goes through and I go out there to the demonstration that's mobilising at the moment to say I'm opposed to this, will I be prosecuted?
Unfortunately, you don't get an answer to that. But I like they put that. I also like that Zoe Gardner a while ago also said that, well, because I'm a supporter of Palestine Action, does that mean that I'm also going to face repercussions as well? I thought that was an interesting point as well. Yeah, just absolutely crazy, guys. Just absolutely crazy. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, guys. Yeah, before we go to Gaza, I think we'll stick with more from the UK here. Like I said, we're not. I want to stop by 9:30 if possible, so that we can go to at least 9:30, because I want to see Channel 4's. A reminder, guys, if you're in the UK, Channel 4's documentary on Gaza will drop at 10 o'clock tonight on Channel 4. Do watch it if you are in the UK and you have access to Channel 4. I do recommend it. It's the one the BBC didn't want to air, that Channel 4 are going to air. I do recommend watching it, even if it's viewer discretion advised. It's going to be very, very important. And I really do appreciate you guys all being here. Let me just go down to some comments. Jal says these legal constructions are not allowed in so-called continental law. By the way, the basis of all international law. And believe me, just like the transgender law, this is another worrying question mark in those in Europe and negotiating with the UK. Yeah, I'm actually glad you brought up that point, because that will affect how we can closer have ties to the European Union. Because this kind of deviation is not something that the European Union would want. Good point, but I think you should be prosecuted for your haircut, says Callaghan. Oops, don't watch TV, says Ice Ninja 46. Well, if you've got a TV at home, just switch it onto Channel 4, 10 o'clock, and watch the. It will be worth watching. If I could, I'd probably air it here, but I can't do it. I can't believe I've got to share this, guy. Okay, guys. So today, Matt Hancock was at the COVID inquiry, and I want to remind people, and I want to thank the COVID-19 Degrees Family for Justice Twitter account for these tweets, to remind us, what's that if I set it for 1.5? I'll set it for 1.25 here before we go to the rest. So this is their pinned tweet here. 5 years ago, the government let COVID rip through homes unchecked. Thousands of lives were lost. On Monday, the COVID inquiry finally begins hearing into one of the gravest injustices of the pandemic. Those responsible may hope we forget. We won't. And then we're going to hear some responses from Matt Hancock. Okay.
Right from the start, we've tried to throw a protective ring around our care homes.
A quarter of all COVID-19 deaths were recorded in care homes.
Since March, more than 1 in 4 of their residents have died.
16 have died at this Prestwick facility in just 11 days.
Common rooms are empty, residents are confined to their bedrooms.
This disease is ripping through their care homes and going unchecked.
I've seen people who have easily had 5-10 years left
dying 4 days. So many deaths in so short a time is like nothing before.
So we're using a plastic apron, which, as you can see, does not cover the whole person's body.
I left him on the 22nd of March and I never spoke to him again.
Every day somebody died, every day.
Anita Astle saw almost a quarter of her residents die of COVID-19.
This virus is just wiping people out and it's really, really hard to watch.
I think because you're in this job, it's not just a job. You're here to look after and care for people.
But we're just trying to be strong for the residents we've got left.
And I'm glad we've been able to protect the majority of homes, and we'll keep working to strengthen the protective ring that we've cast around all our care homes.
Care homes across the UK have struggled with residents coming to them from hospitals.
The NHS needed to free up 30,000 beds by discharging patients into care homes.
I read the hospital discharge policy and there was no mention of care homes protecting people at the receiving end of those patients, none at all.
And in April, it advised that negative COVID tests were not required.
The vast majority of staff have not been tested.
75% say there's been no testing of residents and 80% no testing of staff.
The government promised staff would get a COVID-19 test every week, residents every month. But Anita has been waiting 3 weeks for the testing kits to arrive.
Have you been tested?
No.
You've still not been tested?
No. My care staff are going into a care home where 7 people died of COVID, and still today, the residents have not been tested.
Do you think now the government threw a protective ring around the care homes?
I think absolutely the government...
You do?
Yes, I do, because...
too many care homes didn't really follow the procedures in the way that they could have.
Why
Fuck off, Boris. Sorry, I had to say that.
are we destroying everything for people who will die anyway soon? Who said that, Mr. Cummings?
I think it was the PM.
He's obsessed with older people accepting their fate and letting the young get on with life and the economy going.
25,000 people were discharged into care homes in 1 month in England. They weren't tested, most of them.
How are you? Broken, I think. Yep.
Matt Hancock had previously told the inquiry that the main cause of infections in care homes was care home staff. He based his claim on a veterinary study. Today, the author of that study, this was yesterday, told the inquiry that her study did not show that.
I think you are aware of comments made by Mr. Matthew Hancock in his Module 2 witness statement. And Professor, you should know he's due to give evidence tomorrow. But he said in Module 2, could I have up on screen, please, INQ 613-177_21, in paragraph 43, where we've set out in the middle there what Mr. Hancock said in that statement. He said in his Module 2 statement, and it's in the middle of the page, a widespread concern has been that patients who were discharged from hospitals were the main cause of infections in care homes. While I understand why so many people hold this view, we now know this is not the case. During the summer of 2020, I was made aware of initial evidence showing that movement of staff between care homes was the main source of transmission, and I asked for urgent work to be undertaken to place restrictions on such movements. Now, you were asked to comment on that, Professor, and I think you set out below. And you say it's accurate Vivaldi provided evidence supporting the important role of staff in transmission of infection and the risks associated with movement of staff. The survey did not, for the reasons you've just told us, provide evidence of the relative importance of different modes of transmission. Is that correct?
That's correct. So based on data from Vivaldi, and I'm aware there are obviously other sources of information on this point too, but based on data from Vivaldi, yes, that's correct.
So it's going beyond what can be concluded properly from Vivaldi to say that movement of staff between care homes was the main source of transmission.
Matt Hancock today was repeatedly refused to explain to the inquiry what protections he was referred to when he described a protective ring around care homes. The truth is, there was no protective ring. Care home residents and staff were abandoned with deadly consequences.
It may be me. I'm just trying to understand, if we don't have testing, there is an inadequacy of PPE. You can't isolate, and the advice doesn't say isolate. You're not banning staff. What was the protection for the care homes, Mr. Hancock?
The question we faced was what is the best policy.
That's not what I asked you.
It may not be what you asked, but it is the question that was valid at the time.
Yeah, but you... Okay, let me break this down for everyone, okay? There is no pit of hell enough for these schools. Yes, there is. There is no pit of hell. You're absolutely right, Mifra, on that. Let me try and break this down for everyone to understand, to try to understand this, okay? Now, again, when we go back to this, okay, back to this time, the argument from the government, from the health secretary and from ministers was that they needed to free up beds. This was their argument, okay? They said they needed the beds because of the pandemic, right? They needed to free up their beds. That was their argument, okay? My question, okay, this is the question that I would have put. And I haven't seen the full thing. I've only seen a couple of clips, okay? But the question I would have put to Matt Hancock is, okay, you wanted to free up the beds for more patients. Totally understandable. We understand that. Yeah, because obviously you want to make sure as many beds are available to help as many and save as many lives as you possibly can. Totally understandable, right? But why did you not wait for personal protective equipment coming to the care homes, as well as the necessary test kits for those care homes, before you discharged them from the hospitals to ensure that the COVID-19 virus did not spread? That's an obvious question. It's an obvious question. Yeah? Because these people had COVID. But you still released them to care homes where they did not have the protection and they did not have the testing equipment. Why did we not wait until they had it before you sent them to it? That would have prevented loss of life. Forget about money and savings and all that fucking stuff. We're talking about people's lives here.
You see, if you take these questions out of context, then you are not asking the real question that we faced. The protection, at the time, was clearly not as much as we would have liked.
I understand that. I understand you didn't have enough testing. You didn't have enough personal protective equipment. We know because there was a lot of fucking shady shit going on when it comes to money grabbing and the VIP lane and all that shit. I get that. But why did you release them without giving their care homes what they needed to ensure that they would have been protected, as well as people who weren't infected?
But the alternatives were even worse.
Can you give me an example of what alternatives would have been worse for what you have done? Oh, the worst example, guys. Let's just say hypothetically, the worst example would have been is not releasing these people into the care homes, and the NHS would have been overwhelmed. Okay, let's say hypothetically that would have been the case. Okay, would that have been resulting in loss of life there too? Yes, it would have been. But we don't know if it would have meant more loss of life in that situation compared to the loss of life in care homes. And I am just going to be skeptical, and I am just being skeptical here. And I'm going to say, and I'm making a pure prediction here, that I think more lives would have been saved if they weren't sent to the care homes, because of the care homes not having the personal protective equipment and the testing that they needed. Yes, the NHS would have been overwhelmed. Yes, people will have died. Doctors and nurses would have died. I accept that. I know it's not right to say that because we didn't want any life of loss. But we should have looked at what is the best way we can minimize it spreading and minimize the loss of life. And he and his government chose to put people who were infected into care homes, willingly knowing that that could spread. And that's exactly what happened. It spread. Whereas if it was overwhelming, if these people would stay still in those beds, right? If they stayed in those beds, and I'm going by hypotheticals here, and feel free to call me out if you think I'm wrong here. I'm going from hypothetical here. I know he's an arsehole. I know this government was terrible, guys. You don't need to tell me that. I understand that. But I'm just going from hypotheticals here. Because like I say, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of other people to try and understand why they make the decisions that they make. But hypothetically, would more lives have been saved if they did not release them into the care homes and they were still in the hospitals?
Now, you say it was not as much as we would have liked, but what was it? That's what I'm trying to understand.
Well, we started the flow of free PPE. We were testing those with symptoms.
Yep.
We were not testing asymptomatically because of the clinical advice and the shortage of tests. The expansion of testing, which we were in the middle of, which we expanded rapidly in the days following that announcement, and in particular over the month of April, these were all the protections that we were putting in place.
I hope it was more incompetence than on purpose. It looks like giving smallpox infected blankets to the Indians, as Simon says 55. Eat Out, Help Out was meant to help the spread too. Yep, that did. All public services, says Jow, were provided with free meals, all needed means, and all workers were forced by law to use them. Anti-mask, anti-vaxxers were either forced to isolate or even jailed, says Jow. Yeah, but you listen to your government. We weren't keen to listen to them, and our government were a bunch of idiots. You had a competent government. I had free tests one a week here. I had to go to the pharmacy to show my ID card. Mithril says, don't forget, Reading Elite, the Tory government has scrapped all emergency pandemic planning and its related storage of equipment in 2017 as part of the budget cuts. So you're absolutely correct, Mithril. That I remember that. Thank you for reminding me of that as well. Yep, they did that as well. Thank you for bringing that up. Very important. They didn't have the tests ready, and as Regan Elite said, and no fucking personal protective equipment. Yeah. And this is the, like, here's the thing, like, in this situation, I would not have done what they have did because I would not want to put the care home staff in that situation. But obviously he thought differently. Before I go to that last one, I just want to share this one here. Matt Hancock trying to act smart. You know he's a fucking moron. But this just reinforces it, guys.
It's astonishing that we haven't got PHE senior officials at this inquiry, and they've essentially not been asked these questions. It was a enormous...
I'm afraid we have had officials from Public Health England and UXA, Mr Hancock. So.
No, these questions have not really been aired.
You fucking idiot. You didn't even fucking do your homework. To say something like that, and then obviously the Baroness says, we have had them. Absolutely disgusting man. Absolute fucking disgusting man.
Finally, this please, on this topic. Do you think a member of the public, or indeed people running care homes, would interpret what you said as a piece of rhetoric?
Yes, I think largely people in running care homes would understand that what I was trying to say was that we have tried to put in a huge amount of support. That's the lived experience I have from talking to people in care homes. You know, there may be campaign groups and politically motivated bodies that say other things. What I care about, though, is the substance. And frankly, that's what this inquiry should care about after all the millions of pounds that have been spent on it.
And I can assure you, Mr Hancock, it is what I care about.
Absolute fucking disgusting man. Absolutely terrible man. He should go to prison. He should go to prison, guys, but We know he's not going to. We know he sadly is not going to go to as much as I want him to. Guys, I'm not going to have time to cover. I was going to cover a bit of the big beautiful bill and Trump. I suppose I could share a small one clip from Sky News on it. I suppose I could do that, and that's about it. But I want to cover a bit of Gaza because I do think it's important. So, where is the... Yep, this is it. So, well, I just want to share this one here first. A reminder, tonight.
Hey guys, tonight at 10 p.m. on Channel 4 is the documentary about the genocide in Gaza that the BBC refused to show and Channel 4 are showing. So I would urge everybody to watch that, not only to watch it and to deeply understand what's happening, or more deeply understand what's happening in Gaza and Palestine, but also to make sure that those viewing figures are as high as we can make them to send a message to the BBC and the rest of the media complex. Sending you much love.
Very well said. Watch it tonight, guys. Very important. For all the problems, should I share that one later? Actually, I'll share that one later. I'll share that one after, guys. This was Channel 4 yesterday. You guys, I think I covered it already, but you guys remember the cafe that was blown up by Israel.
The Al-Baqa Cafe on the beachfront in Gaza City was a lot more than just a place to get a coffee. It was somewhere to come for inspiration. The view included plumes of smoke and the tents of the displaced in the background. But in the foreground, at the tables all around you on the terrace, artists, journalists, athletes. Malik Musla was a well-known young boxer in Gaza. She featured in this TV report 5 years ago during COVID. Herself and friends training on the beach near the Al-Baqa Cafe. Her aspirations packed a punch.
معروفة هذه اللعبة إنه بس للأولاد، ولكن لما أنا خشيت هذا المجال حبيتها وأعطتني طاقة إيجابية كتير منيحة، فيعني عادي ممكن بنات وأولاد يلعبوها، وأنا إن شاء الله رح أكمل فيها لحد ما أكبر وأمثل العالم الفلسطيني إن شاء الله، ومش رح أبعد يعني مش رح أفصل منها.
Malik had a friend, this woman, Nida Al-Mashwari. She'd arranged to meet Malik in the cafe yesterday. They'd had an argument, and Nida had brought Malik a giant teddy bear as a peace offering. This one. Both young women, along with their aspirations, didn't survive the Israeli airstrike. They were among at least 20 people killed.
هذا ما تبقى من أختي كانت قاعدة هان الدبدوب هذا الأخت.
As our team was filming there today, Nida's brother Mohammed arrived to retrieve the gift.
أختي نداء حديد خضر المشهراوي العمر 23 سنة انخطفت في عمر التمر في عمر الزهور. الله يرحمها ايش بدنا نحكي اكثر من هيك يعني.
He told us his sister loved it at the Al-Baqa Cafe. You felt insulated from the war here, an incubator for normality.
كيف شوف بالباقة هو مكان يعني بيعني لنا كل شيء، يعني بغير للواحد نفسيته، بيكون الواحد يعني بيشوف دمار وبيشوف شغلات زي هيك، كل البلد مدمره، بنيجي على الباقة بيكون فيها مثلا ترتيب، بتغير النفسيه، بتغير الشكليه اللي انت فيها، بتطلع برا، مجرد ما تطلع من برا باب الباقة بتتغير برضه النفسيه اللي غيرتها بتخرب هنا، هي.
Which is why photographer Ishmael Abu Khattab spent so much time at his usual spot on the cafe terrace. He'd regularly film the scene from here. Internet connectivity was better the closer you were to the sea.
Aman.
So, Ishmael could upload his pictures and videos and send them out into the world. Pictures and videos like these. It was journalism as art, and art as journalism. Ishmael, who was 33, was also killed in the strike yesterday. Mohammed Kadada was his friend. We spoke to him today on the terrace. When an artist like this dies, he says, more than just one set of eyes close.
إسماعيل كان يساعدني. يعني إسماعيل كان صوت الصورة زي ما بيقولوا. يعني يعطي للصورة صوت.
We asked the IDF who the intended target of yesterday's strike was. They did not tell us, but said that, quote, several Hamas terrorists were struck in the northern Gaza Strip.
What do you honestly think?
We asked everyone we interviewed who was in the cafe yesterday whether they'd seen any suspicious activity or known Hamas operatives in and around the cafe. They all said no, including Abu Noor, a waiter at Al-Baka. He was working when the missile hit.
فطلعت لقيتها صاير بتنزل فاخذت حالي على شقه عشان ما تجيليش لانه اللي وراي صابوا على الدرج فوق. فبعد شويه نزلت جراي تحت لقيت في هنا شباب العمال كان في هان واحد وهان واحد وكانوا اثنين اخوه هناك اثنين اخوه في كان ابن عمهم كمان غاده هذول اللي بيشتغلوا هنا وكان اسماعيل متصاوب غاد.
We've just told the story of 3 people killed at the Al-Baka cafe yesterday. There are many more. The scale of what's happening in Gaza is hard to process, but at its heart is the travesty of small intimacies destroyed. Moments of friendship, reconciliation, inspiration, enjoyed over coffee.
This is another example. I wanted to share this full piece because it's again a reminder. Thank you for Steam Bank for coming. I understand why this is a bit much for you. Vicky, good to see you there, and One Angry Pagan, good to see you, my friend. I might need you, Pagan, if you're free tomorrow evening. I will DM you if need be. I'm just waiting for a response for 1 or 2 because I might have a special live stream tomorrow evening, possibly. I might need you for it. I'm just waiting for a response from other people, and I haven't gotten an answer yet. This is really heartbreaking. Like the schools, like the hospitals, every single time Israel strikes them and doesn't give a shit. That just doesn't give a damn. It is. I know it's hard to talk about it, but it's important to remind ourselves that this is happening every single day. And I know it's hard to talk about it. And I know it's hard. But we have to keep talking about it, and we have to keep telling people that this is happening. That this is happening every day. Because the mainstream media will not talk about it loud enough. And like I say, that's why I have so much admiration and respect for the people at Channel 4 who do this, who do what they do. Because they are the only broadcaster that, they are not perfect, but they are by far the best out there. Who are not afraid to simply call what they see in front of them. Not afraid of it. I do fear for Channel 4 if the likes of Reform come into power. Because they will try to suppress this channel. I do fear for them in that regard. I don't think this is even worth listening to. This woman tries to justify what they're doing. She tries to justify Israel and what they're doing, and Piers Morgan calls it out. It's just too brutal to talk about. But even again, guys, and I've said this before, even with all the suffering that is taking place inside Gaza, there are still good people, consistently good people, still doing good things, even though they don't have to. This hungry Palestinian boy feeds stray cats when he should be feeding himself, but he cares more about others than he cares about himself. What a remarkable young boy.
ايش قاعد تعمل؟ من وين جبت لهم هذا الاكل؟
هذا كان امبارح.
ليه؟
طعم البسس.
تريد طعم البسس؟ بتحب البسس انت؟ انت طعم البسس بس ملاقي تاكل امانه تحت الصخر.
لا.
لا؟
لا.
والله.
لا.
يعني مطعمين وانت مش ملاقي تاكل؟ ايش اكلت اليوم؟
لسه مش ماكلين.
Yeah, I didn't eat yet. May God bless that boy. Remind ourselves of the human kindness. Remind ourselves of the human kindness of amazing people there are out there, guys. Yeah. Oh, I didn't get the funny videos out. Let me just do that. I'm going to have a quick look at the chat while I pull that up. This is the reality that so many refuse to see, says Ryan Pagan. Yeah, that is true. So many see it through, says Doc Davis. It's brutal. I know. I'm fading fast. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're okay and stuff. It's okay. It's okay if it's too much. We're almost done anyway. We're going to do what I'm going to cover one more video, and then we're going to listen to a possibly funny video. At least I hope it's a funny video. It should be. But I just wanted to play this one from Sky News 6 hours ago on the big beautiful bill. I wish I had more on it, but I don't, unfortunately, guys. Well, I do, but we've already run out of time. Can anyone else hear? I hope you guys can hear me all right. Hold on, let me check the stream. Stream seems okay. Says excellent connection. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's the voice. I don't know. All right, this. Oh, let me switch over. So yeah, this is the last one I'll play, guys.
It's the big beautiful bill. One
Well, there'll be a funny video after as well.
big beautiful bill. One big beautiful bill.
It's how he hopes to bankroll his second-term agenda in the White House. But what exactly is the president's big, beautiful bill? Well, it is big, 940 pages of policy. But on the question of beauty, the United States Congress is divided. In the House of Representatives, it got through by a single vote.
The bill is passed.
The Vice President's vote breaking a 50-50 tie in the Senate.
The bill as amended is passed.
The big beautiful bill is ambitious in its scope, covering so much ground for the White House in one piece of legislation. It extends tax cuts for working and middle-class Americans. It prioritises spending for things like border security. But it restricts health care for millions of people and reduces food aid.
Yeah, because clearly people don't need healthcare, and people around the world don't need more food aid.
It's not just Democrats who oppose it, even some Republicans are concerned. But challenging Trump comes at a price. Senator Tom Tillis voted against, saying the bill breaks promises on health care. And he's now announced he won't seek re-election in North Carolina.
Yeah, because if any Republicans defy the bill, you get primaried. You get kicked to the curb. It's as simple as that. You have to go against your own constituents. You have to go against your own conscience in order to remain in your position. That's really it. It's as simple as that. It's disgusting, but that's it.
What do I tell 663,000 people in 2 years or 3 years?
By the way, this guy doesn't have a conscience. He's still, you know, people are told from what I've heard from YouTubers and whatnot, he's not a good person. He's still an asshole.
When President Trump breaks his promise by pushing them off of Medicaid because the funding's not there. Elon Musk brands it political suicide for Republicans, claiming it will add up to $5 trillion to the national debt.
Well, is he going to form his party or not? He said he would form a political party.
The president threatening to deport Musk, the former head of his Department of Government Efficiency.
Those is the monster that might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible?
Lawmaking in America is a complex business. Democrats forced a full reading of all 940 pages in the Senate, and then a vote-orama, a series of marathon voting sessions. So the president hit the phones, and the vice president stayed close to the Capitol to cast the deciding vote if necessary. They know their big, beautiful bill is critical in delivering Donald Trump's agenda and securing his legacy.
Legacy. His legacy is already back. He's already secured his legacy as one of the worst presidents in one of the most darkest times of American history. That is certainty. He will be remembered as one of the worst presidents in the country's history, in a country that may never recover from. And I say may never recover from. So guys, before we head out, we've got one last video for you to see ourselves out. So for those who don't know, Donald Trump was at Alligator Alcatraz with his entourage, and Kristi Noem was also out. Kristi Noem, one of her posse, were out there, and hopefully you guys will get a bit of a laugh out of this one here. So Lucien des Valgues takes on Kristi Noem is too accurate. Let's hope so anyway. I hope you guys get a laugh out of this on this one.
Kristi Noem here. We just finished touring Alligator Alcatraz with President Donald J. Trump and also Ron DeSantis, who opted for a wedge boot today. It was really nice, sturdy. DSW, I think he said he got it. We are here in this facility, which will house 5,000 individuals who are legally here because of the Biden administration's extreme failings of this country. And we are going to take care of them in due process. We're going to have them take care of them often same day. It's like the Amazon model. Ooh, write that down. We're going to use that for marketing later.
She sounds almost like her.
But we are going to we're also saving money by having these alligators do all the work for most of these criminals are going to try to escape. It's what they do. They cross borders. They're lawless, which is why they're here in this country and why President Donald J. Trump is moving at Trump speed. This facility was built in 8 days, and that's exactly what American innovation can do. If we allow America to be great, it can be great. And this is a prime example of exactly what America is today and what it will be tomorrow once it is safer. So we'd like to thank President Donald J. Trump, thank the American people, and let's pass the one big beautiful bill so we can get more facilities just like this built throughout America.
Oh my god, she sounded way too accurate. That was terrible. She sounded way too accurate. Let's play this one. This will be much better. Let's play this one again.
London is a very dangerous city these days. You're never more than 4 meters away from a right-wing grifter who's making a video about how bad London is. You'll be able to recognise them by their lack of facts, their annoying presentation style, and their insistence on filming things in landscape. Sure, they've hired an intern and they've downloaded CapCut, but does that mean they deserve to make videos? No, it doesn't. Social media is a very powerful tool, and therefore it shouldn't be used by powerful tools. Get it? Tool? That's good stuff, that. This has potential to make London a no-go zone, because nobody wants to go in a place where people are doing this. Crime, immigrants, graffiti, dog poo, line bikes, women, wine, pedestrians. That's the train. You hear how loud that is? Ouchies. They haven't finished that yet, have they? That's dirty. London. Now it's windy. That's another problem, isn't it? Ah, the wind. Ow. In the course of making this video, I've been stabbed 6 times and my phone has been stolen. Look at that graffiti. I mean, it speaks for itself. It's not like I chose to film it in this place. Could have filmed it in a nice park or by a canal or in a beer garden, but nah, chose to film it here, didn't I? If these right-wing grifters want to come to this city, they're going to have to adapt to the culture. The culture of not being an insufferable prick. These people claim to care about this city, but all they really care about is their own likes and views, unlike me, a brave comedian who is very brave. Please, for the love of God, share this video or I'll...
Oh, that was better. That was much better. Oh, we needed that to see ourselves out, guys. Oh, God, we have to needed that. We needed that indeed. The alligator lands is native to them. They have no business there. It's inhospitable for them, but it is scarred land for the natives. Unfortunately, Joe, they don't care. They had to ship all that in by plane, by the way. You know that facility they built? It had to be all done by plane. So every single piece of material, everything in that everything that's in those buildings, in those structures, is all by plane because of where it is. Absolutely insane, guys. Absolutely insane. So, guys, I want to say a massive thank you for everyone who's come along. Apologies for yawning. The heat is still getting to me, but this is my 3rd live stream today, as well as I had the videos to record as well. So it's been a long day for me. Tomorrow, I am planning a live stream. I have 1 person on board. I may have a 2nd person on board. So as you guys know, we didn't do the round table last week because of poor Daisy passing away. So I'm trying to see if I can scrounge up a one at short notice tomorrow evening. That's why it hasn't been set up yet. If I don't get an answer tonight or tomorrow morning from the other 2 people, I will it'll just be down between me and me and 2 other guests. Pagan will probably be on board because obviously the other 2 guests that I'm basically trying to get the same people that I had for last week's roundtable at short notice, and I haven't got a response from All Shorts. I haven't got a response from Random Scottish History, so I don't know whether they can come to tomorrow night or not. If not, One Angry Pagan, I can have you on if you're able to join, and if it but we'll have to wait and see. Basically, I just wanted to get a couple of voices on and just talk about some of the latest news, basically. As for whether there'll be a round table later this month, I had one planned for the 31st of July. I may still do that one. We'll have to wait and see. But I just thought I might as well just let you know that that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get a round table discussion, but I don't want to set it in stone until I have a couple more, 1 or 2 more people on board with it. But I've got one person to agree to it at least. But I want to say thank you guys for all coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments. Thank you for those who gave super chats tonight as well. Much appreciated. I will be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for another Good Morning Show. If you can join me, please join me for the Good Morning Show. Be much appreciated. We'll look at some of the world news. We'll look at the local weather, the daily quota, and I will find a seaside town because I didn't find one yesterday. Unless something big news happens that we need to discuss, then we'll do that as well, guys. I might DM Rishi for your Regan Elite if you want. You have to tell me on Discord who that is. You have to tell me on Discord who that is, my friend. But yeah, I'm going to head out, guys. But yeah, if you can, on your way out, hit that like button, share this across social media, subscribe if you haven't to already. The gang have been here the whole time as well. For some reason, the light is in such a weird way that there's like this light here. For some reason, the green screen is not fully working. It may be because of the light, or it might be because I haven't turned the light on. I don't know. Something like that. There. I should get Jow. That's a good idea. Maybe I could get Jow on. The problem is how do I get to contact Jow outside of YouTube? That's the only thing. Jenny Regan. Yeah, I've messaged her. I'm still waiting for a response from her. Alistair. I'm still waiting for a response from her. So I can't do anything more than that, guys. But yeah, all I can do is wait, guys. I've asked people and I just need to wait. But yeah, I'm gonna try and get a couple of people on board, and then we're literally just gonna have a chat about basically what's been happening. But yeah, thank you guys for all coming along. So I'm gonna go now. I'm definitely gonna go. If you can, do watch the documentary 10 o'clock tonight on Channel 4. Highly recommend it. But yeah, take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evenings, whatever you guys do. And I hope to catch you all very, very soon.